College is a time for some of the most memorable experiences. But this story about an invasion of the undead was a memory so scarring and beyond belief that few will believe the tale. The Israel-Palestine protests at Columbia University had reached a fever pitch. Annalise, a regular student with no dog in the fight, watched attentively from afar. But as the chanting of the crowd became angrier, she noticed a strange figure heading in the direction of the main protesters. Her eyes traced the slow, jerking movements of the ghost-like figure. The creature most closely resembled a man, but she could not be sure, wore tattered clothes, and its skin was gray and peeling like it had just escaped a fire. The protesters were united in their clamor for change, yet they were so enamored they did not seem to notice as the figure slipped silently into the crowd. Despite the vivid banners and the passionate speeches that vibrated the air, this intruder appeared mute aside from the occasional grumbling, and its chants never quite reaching the ears. As Annalise pushed closer, straining to hear any coherent phrases, the whispers seemed to slither through the crowd like a chilling breeze, inexplicably cold in the summer heat. The other people in attendance were getting lost in the sea of activism. Yet the more Annalise watched, the more the presence of the dead-eyed creature gnawed at her. Was she mad? Why had no one else seen or reacted to this thing, this zombie? She left in amazement for a night of homework and reflection. The next day, Annalise returned to the site of the protest to see another particularly gaunt figure joining the party. She began to follow it, getting much closer than she did the day before. As she approached, she noted the peeling skin, clothes that hung in tatters, eerily reminiscent of funeral garb rather than any modern protest attire. Edging nearer, a stench of damp earth and decay pervaded, mingling grotesquely with the summer air loaded with the scent of sweat and discontent. There, under the shade of an ancient oak, she found herself mere steps behind the creature. Its head turned, revealing eyes that were not just empty but profoundly sorrowful, as if the world's grief had pooled within those dark orbits. The silence around them felt charged, heavy with unspoken horrors. Annalise's breath hitched, her academic curiosity clashing with an instinctive fear. Questions mounted, each more urgent than the last. Where were these zombies coming from, and why were they so calm? Don't zombies crave human flesh? If so, why no attacks? And what has possessed them to join a protest that no dead soul should care about? Her heart pounded a frantic rhythm as the figure seemed to glide away, right into the middle of the large group of student protesters, much like the creature she had seen the day before. As days turned, Annalise's encounters grew. These undead, or whatever they were, didn't just visit, they mingled, standing with signs reading "End Apartheid" and "Stop the Genocide." And what was one zombie quickly morphed into 2, then 6, and now the number could not be counted. It seemed as if most of the protest was made up of the undead. Annalise often asked other bystanders if they saw the same horror she witnessed. More often than not, they rebuked her, calling her a bigot for being so mean to college students simply trying to exercise their free speech. When she pointed out her comments had nothing to do with the protest itself and rather more towards the actual undead mingling in the crowd, they became angry. One man even pushed her to the ground. There was a dissonance in the air, a macabre dance between reality and something horrifically other, all under the guise of normalcy. The turning point for Annalise came abruptly. In the midst of yet another heated protest on Israel and Palestine, the amount of undead in the crowd was larger than she had ever seen. Now they sported T-shirts with anti-Israeli slogans. Many were harassing students just trying to get to class. Others marched in circles behind barricades with fists held high in the air. Annalise felt a profound disconnect then, a disenchantment not just with Columbia University but with society at large. Her surroundings felt uncomfortable and foreign. She decided then and there that this was no longer a place she wanted to be. She marched to the administration office and filled out the necessary paperwork to drop out. With her belongings packed, Annalise left Columbia University behind that very day. The road out was quiet, and as she glanced back, she saw the zombies once more, still protesting. A grim smile touched her lips. Even in her departure, the absurdity didn't cease. But now it was a chapter closed. But there was one question she kept turning over in her mind. Zombies are notorious for eating brains. Yet they didn't attack anyone. Was it simply because they could not find a brain among any of the protesters?